I remember seeing the white tiles beneath me and then looking up and seeing it in all its glory, the house of Allah. It had been months leading up to this moment, and if you've been there, you know exactly what it's like seeing it for the first time. Immediately, I lift up my hands and make dua, and I'm filled with euphoria. And I go downstairs and I start making tawaf on the first floor. Except during this whole time, there is a huge problem. My heart feels kind of empty, and I remember not being as fulfilled as I wanted to be, because in all the time leading up, the whispers and temptations of shaitan in my life had left me not being the Muslim I wanted to be going into Umrah for the first time. But the good news, if you understand that feeling and you've been in a place where you've had a weak Iman, or perhaps you're in that spot right now, I'm going to tell you that you can fix it. Because 4 years later, after that moment, I went to Umrah again. And this time, it was amazing. I went with my friends and it was one of the best trips of my life so far. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 practical and realistic tips that you can actually use to improve your Iman and better your connection to Allah. But just a disclaimer, I'm not going to be using things like Islam and atheism and science, things like that, because we've all already heard the proofs and everything, and yet some of us still feel that emptiness in our hearts. So without further ado, point number 1. When I had gone through that point of weakness and low Iman, one of the things that definitely pulled me back to Deen was the fact that one of my closest friends was one of the best Muslims I'd seen around my age. Spending time with him every day at school, him being pretty much the only friend I had at that time. Actually, we spent more time at, for example, the Muslim club at the school, and he encouraged me to be better, and we'd even do Islamic studies once a week as well. And it wasn't simply all those little things put together in my life, but rather the fact that I was surrounded by Iman. And when you're surrounded by Iman, you get some of it as well. If I was in that weak spot, who would I have been today if my closest friends were people who were clubbing, drinking, and doing degenerate activities as is normal for people my age? So point number 1 is to make sure that you have a good Muslim circle or Muslim friend group in your life, or perhaps even a local Muslim group. And if you don't have any of those things, you could just join my Discord server below, and I'm sure you will make friends over there, including myself even. Now, point number 2, you are what you eat, but I also believe that you are what you hear and see as well. And here I'm specifically talking about music. Not just any music, but degenerate music. This is something that even I struggle with from time to time. What could it possibly do, right? It's just audio entertainment. Wrong. I guarantee that if you were to do everything right and repair your Iman and become a better Muslim, but then you started listening to 21 Savage and Future over the next few weeks, you will see some changes in yourself. Perhaps you might start skipping one prayer. Perhaps you might start being weak in Iman again. Little things will happen, little thoughts will enter your mind, and you will start to become weak again. Before you know it, you will go down a track and you will not even know who owns your heart anymore. So point number 2 is to limit useless input, specifically degenerate music. Now point number 3 is the most important and the most effective thing for me to rebuild my Iman properly. You see, in my times of weakness, I would make dua to Allah to guide me in whatever way possible. Whatever God is out there, just guide me, just give me guidance. And I received guidance in the most spectacular way possible. I randomly just gained an obsession with learning Arabic. And I would just be learning Arabic for no particular reason at all. I was just finding it interesting. And before I knew it, I was applying those reading skills to the Quran, and my mind was, simply put, blown away. You know what? If you can read Arabic but you can't understand it, or if you just don't know Arabic at all, grab your phone right now and install Duolingo or Kalam app or something like that. Actually do it right now, because a lot of people will never make the first step to try and learn Arabic. No matter how minuscule it is, they'll hear stuff like Duolingo isn't a good app for Arabic, and then they'll just never think about learning Arabic again. Maybe someday, maybe someday. and it just never happens. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't take as long as you think it does. In 3 months, I was understanding way more than I did at the start, and I was seeing the poetic beauty of the Quran that I'd been hearing about all my life but never really knew about. So ignore the Duolingo hate. I had a 100-day streak on Duolingo and it did me good. Just ignore all the useless stuff on it and you'll be fine. So if you don't know Arabic right now, that should be your #1 priority out of all of these 3 things. But obviously just start small. And it'll be a lot easier if you join my free community where I'll be there to help you out as well whenever you need. So in summary, the 3 things that will definitely improve your Iman are to fix your circle, to limit useless input, and most importantly, to make an attempt to understand the book of guidance that you've received from the Creator himself. And that is by learning Arabic. I hope this video was valuable to you. Make sure to join hundreds of other people who are on the same goal as you by joining the free community below. Message me anytime on Instagram, and I will see you in the next one, inshallah.